Alright, hello everyone, welcome to Tabletop Tuesday, where we basically educate you on tabletop gaming while I play some sort of weird game in the background to keep you visually entertained. Before we get into Tabletop Tuesday, a couple of announcements so we can get it done and over with. Announcement number one, our sponsors, which are Shockbait Gaming Server, link down below, and W Energy Drinks. If you use the code RubyMadHatter on W Energy Drinks, you get 10% off your purchase. This stuff is like pretty dang tasty, and it's really good for your, energy, and you tend to not crash as hard when you take it, when you drink it down. With Shockbait Gaming Servers, they've been fairly stable for us. We've had very little problems with them. I'd recommend them as a good gaming server if they service your game. So go ahead and check them out, link down below. Then we, of course, have our artists, which, if you want to check them out, other side, check them out, that direction. They could always use your commissions, so that's always important. With that being said, thank you, Avenge Angel, by the way, for joining the tavern. Grab yourself a mug of ale, pull up a chair, have fun, and don't fireball my goddamn tavern. Announcement number 3 is we are going to be doing my Streamiversary, February 14th. I am going to be doing a You Laugh, You Lose challenge, and every time I fail the challenge, my wife gets to add another box or bag of chocolate on free chocolate day, or half-price chocolate day on the next day. So that's what we're doing. So send your inputs to my Discord, to Anne's boss, Ruby's boss on Discord, and she will add it to the list. Alright, that's always welcome. Alright, with that being said, let's introduce my partner in crime, CandidGamera. How you doing, man?
Oh, pretty good.
Oh, okay. I was like, you were suddenly really quiet there.
Just might be my mic needs to be closer to my mouth.
It's okay. Alright. So we have a little bit of OGL updates for D&D. We're going to go over some of the things that they've changed, our thoughts on them, and where we think things are going to be going in the future of this fight for the OGL. Alright, so that is to be taken into account. Now, let me move this over here and do that. Switch there. There we go. Alright, so this is the OGL 1.2 that they're talking about. Now, some of the changes I noticed, they introduced a creator product badge. You can put that on instead of having to put the whole document in your stuff.
Yep.
That's kind of useful. Thank you, Oops, for checking in. I appreciate that. Now, there were some changes, and you made your thoughts known, and I would say some of the changes that I've seen that I don't particularly care for, was it the termination clause I'm not a fan of, and neither are you, it seems.
No.
Basically, what it says is basically if this license isn't enforceable in any way, or there's like a conflict with the license, they will just kill the whole license.
They have the ability to kill the whole license. Well, no, I mean, you're talking about 7B. Yeah.
Yeah.
They can terminate your license if you infringe their intellectual property, bring an action challenging the ownership of their license, content, trademark, or patents, violate any law in relation to your activities under this license, or violate section 6F. So basically, they're going way overboard in, like, here's how we can screw you over, which is a much more expansive list of things they can terminate your license for.
Right. I have an issue with 6F, and not because I want to make this kind of content. It's how they word this. It says, no hateful content or conduct. You will not include content. I keep... I'm tongue-tied today. You will not include content in your licensed work that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing, or engage in conduct that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing. We have, the wizards, when they say we, they say wizards, have the sole right to decide what conduct or content is hateful. You covenant that you will not contest any such determination via any suit or other legal action.
Right, yeah. And this is just a shit show from the first word, just about. It sounds like this is one of those clauses like, we just want to make sure, nobody does Nazi shit. And it's like, that's great. But
the way you word this, and that the fact Wizards of the Coast is the arbiter,
right,
is the problem.
Wizards is the sole determiner, and there is no recourse in court or arbitration. This should be decided by neutral third-party arbitration.
Yes, yeah, boy, ready. This is the new D&D shit. This is the newest OGL. They just popped out, and it's an improvement over the last one. I will say that, but it's still dog shit. It's just no longer flaming dog shit. It's just dog shit.
Yes. So again, this is them having the sole right to determine, and you have no recourse to challenge. It should be done by third-party neutral arbitration. And then, of course, we have the 5 words. Harmful, what does that mean? Discriminatory, okay, that one's fine.
That one has a legal reason, yeah.
Illegal, that's not their job. If it's illegal, then the laws of the country will be applied by the forces of the country.
Okay.
Let me finish.
I'm sorry, I was laughing. I wasn't trying to interrupt you. I was trying not to laugh over you.
Yeah, obscene, which is horrible because, some things people will agree what's obscene, but other people think anything LGBTQ is obscene. And then, of course, harassing. Yeah, we don't want anything discriminatory or harassing. Those two, I think, are passable. Everything else is way too vague, way too subjective.
Harmful doesn't have a legal term. It's just it's too broad. Discriminatory is a legal term. You can use that in a legal court. Yeah. The same with harassing, you can use that. Same with illegal, you can use that. But if it's that illegal, it should be sent to the actual courts, not like arbitrated by a company. Like Christ.
Yeah, if someone does something illegal with my intellectual property, I report them to the police. I don't care about, I'm going to terminate your license and then the police are going to come. That doesn't. No,
what the fuck? Obscene, once again, is not a legal term. Actually, technically it is, it's resulting in adult material.
Well, and the thing is, like I said, what is considered obscene varies depending on who's doing the determination, and LGBTQ content has often been found obscene when equivalent content directed at heterosexual folks is not.
All right,
so this is a nightmare clause.
All right, so for example, Yo Boy Ray said, "I'm so gonna run a Nazi campaign now," and then he goes, "For legal reasons, this is a joke." That's what made me laugh. So I was trying not to laugh over you. I was like, "Oh God damn it!"
I certainly hope it's a joke.
Yeah. And then he goes, "Imagine being taken to court for slaughtering goblins and being looked upon racism." Here's the crazy shit I've actually seen people try to do, and this has happened in some states. People have been actually trying to take certain popular gamers to court because of the actions they take inside the video game. I am not kidding. That's been a thing.
Yep.
That is insane to me. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm mass murdering goblins. Now I've just been told I'm a war criminal. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, also discriminatory. In a game able to be prejudiced against the axis of good versus evil and law versus chaos, the whole game is discriminatory, technically.
Well, and then, of course, the people who have often put out discriminatory content are fucking wizards themselves.
If you want the best example, the fucking Hadozi.
Yeah.
Let's make a race of monkey people who not only are A-okay with slavery, they like being enslaved. And put so many African-American euphemisms in their design and in their backstory that it's like you would have to be Ray Charles not to be able to see how racist it is.
Yep.
It's like, god damn. I remember we talked about that when it came out, and we both just shook our heads like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, it is, whew.
This is why, like, when I'm going to write my book, I'm going to take it to the university. I'm going to find several classes that focus in different cultures, and I'm going to have them beta read it.
Yeah, diversity readers.
Yeah, diversity readers. To make sure I don't fuck this up.
Hadozi Wizen. It is a race that was in the original Spelljammer materials, but basically it is a primitive primate race that essentially was designed and engineered to be very happy as a slave race. And when they did the update for 5th edition, it was not changed substantially until someone pointed out, hey, this is a problem. Look at all these stereotypes. And Wizards went, oops.
Oh, fuck. Now, there is a guy out there who is a D&D content creator. And let me see if I can find his name. Who created him? Who created him? I want to make sure I get his name right, because I always fuck it up. There's a race that someone has made for D&D called the Nightskins. Okay. And I want to say it was, it's Neo Soul God. He's the one who made it. It's a PDF. You don't have to pay for it. It's completely free. And it's an African-American guy putting African-American culture into D&D.
Okay.
And he called it the Nightskins, which was amazingly made. Like, I've read through it, and I was like, holy shit, this is really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the type of person they should have hired as a diversity reader.
Okay.
Like, if you ever get a chance, Gamera, check it out. It's really good.
Okay. I mean, there was a product back in the 3.0 era that was, it was Niambe African Adventures. They put out like a source book for the setting, a couple adventures, and one resource book. And, it was nice to see people actually expanding things. I think I forget the name of the company, but it was pretty well done.
If it's what I think it is, I know I'm spelling it wrong. God damn it. D&D.
Niambe. Nyambe.
Okay. Probably spelled it wrong. Again.
There it is. NBE.
NBE. Okay. There it is. It showed up.
Yeah.
Here's the crazy thing. Someone did that for, like you said, 3rd edition.
Mm-hmm.
The people who wrote it are now working with, if you hadn't noticed my one down here, they're working with Paizo now.
Yeah.
To release it not only for Pathfinder 1st edition, which is not much of a change.
You're right.
But they're also going to release it for Pathfinder 2nd edition.
Cool.
So, we'll be seeing that come back. Don't mind me just mocking Wizards. Hey man, mock Wizards all you want. They screwed up. They screwed up bad. I mean, for God's sakes, I have a, if I could pull up my video. Is it, Where is it? Load, damn it. There it is. I have, as soon as I figure out where that is, boom, that. We have this. We have that as a background.
Have that instead of the Yule log this December.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of being taken to court, I play a lot of 40K. I'm going to be taken to court for the and I quote, slaughtering the alien filth. Oh, you and CandidGamera here. You're both Imperials.
I mean, sure, yeah.
All right, your boy Reddy says, can you throw Games Workshop on there too?
So, Games Workshop is famously awful at customer relations. They just
oh my God.
keep fucking up. The problem, I think, the difference for me is that Wizards at least pretended to, call a truce with everybody, and then they're like, nah, take back.
Oh, yeah. Nah, man. It's just like, Jesus. Yeah, it's amazing they have any feet left, considering how many holes they have from shooting themselves. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There were a few other things that you pointed out, and I agree with some of them. It was a 6F, you said. 6F. It was a nightmare. Oh, that's the hateful content. We already discussed that.
Yeah, we were just discussing that.
9D was the revocable thing where they can revoke the license if it doesn't work. We covered that.
Yeah, actually, that we haven't talked about on the stream, though.
Oh, that's true.
So basically, if any part of the license is held by a court to be unenforceable or invalid for any reason, Wizards may declare the entire license void, either as between it and the party that obtained the ruling, or in its entirety. So if you go to court and say, this one provision is not kosher, Wizards can go, well, you can't use the license at all anymore then. Yeah. Or they can say, you know what? We're tired of this license. It's gone for everybody.
Yeah. And they also put it in 9E and 9G that you cannot have a jury trial and you cannot have a class action lawsuit.
Right.
Which is problematic, to say the least.
Less problem with the jury trial provision just because bench trials are cheaper for court costs. It's the class action that I object to, because there is absolutely the good chance that a class action would be an appropriate response to something they're going to pull.
Yeah. Now, mind you, me and Gamera here have a slight disagreement on the wording of 9E, and that is, I've seen other companies do similar laws where it says, hey, this is where we're located. We want to use the laws where we're located. Hey, Queen K-Play, welcome. And I don't see that as so much of a problem, because as long as their business is located there, that's a viable reason. Now, it does come into some mire, like you pointed out earlier in our private discussion, with international law. But yeah, I would say as long as it's a U.S.-based court system that they're dealing with, requiring everybody to obey the laws of the state of Washington is not a problem.
Well, basically, they're saying that if there's any legal action, it's not obeying the laws of the state of Washington.
Yeah.
It's that if you sue, then the courts that will interpret it will be the laws of the state of Washington, and so they're, a Washington court.
Yeah.
It's not about the illegality; it's about the civil interpretation of the contract. And Washington's not a bad state for that sort of thing, but I
would say Washington is probably one of the better states, to be brutally honest. It's not the best state, but it's pretty up there.
It ain't Texas, that's for sure.
Here for that. Goddamn. Your boy Reddy says, or more people will play Pathfinder. Honestly, that's what I'm expecting. And we'll cover that as soon as we're done with this, like, my expectation to what's going to be happening. Then we get into the virtual tabletop policy. This is entirely shit. Alright?
Yeah.
This whole policy needs to go.
Well, here's the thing. What is permitted, blah, blah, blah. So I like that they, are allowing for other VTTs. The problem comes in that second section when they start saying, you can, display static content, you can display text, but what isn't permitted are features that don't replicate your dining room table storytelling. If you put in animations in your VTT, that's not allowed.
It's not even that it's mimicking your table. It's is that what it says exactly? Like mimic your table?
What isn't permitted are features that don't replicate your dining room table storytelling.
I thought you said replicate your dining room table. I was like,
yeah.
All right. So basically, their idea is let's stop this from being turned into a video game.
So they are the only ones that can provide that kind of enhanced experience.
Which is their end goal, because like the guy who's currently in charge of this whole debacle, which God, what was his name? I just had it. It wasn't Kyle Brink. It's Kyle Brink's boss, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, there's Cynthia Williams, there's the person under her, and then there's Kyle. You're talking about the one in the middle.
Yeah, I'm talking about the one in the middle. What is it? OGL, head of Wizards. I think there's Cynthia Williams, and it's it's Digital Media. Head of Wizards, Digital Media. Oh, what is his name? Not Cynthia Williams. God, stop saying Cynthia Williams. God damn it. That's not who I'm looking for. Can't remember his name. Or is it? I think it's this guy right here. Not Rick Scararts. Not that. Not that.
Oh, Chris there?
Yeah.
At the top?
Chris Cox?
I think that might...
No, it wasn't him.
Hasbro CEO.
That's Hasbro CEO.
Yeah, this is Hasbro stuff.
Yeah, that's Hasbro shit. There's her. Where is the guy that joins? There's Chris Cox, which it might be Chris Cox.
Maybe?
No. Is the guy who is in charge of their digital stuff.
No, I think it is Chris Cox. If you scroll, well, at least it was in this article as of when she came on board.
Yeah. So Chris Cox, president, Hasbro's Wizard of the Coast did. Yep, Chris Cox. That is correct. So it is Chris Cox. All right. I want to say it's this guy. If I see his picture, I think it's him. He's the one that's trying to turn D&D into a video game. That's kind of his goal. And he has a lot of digital media experience. So like Magic the Gathering Arena. He had also several other companies he worked with digital games, including mobile games. So like he's known for basically making digital games, not D&D. And one of the things that several employees of Wizards have pointed out is this guy has never played D&D and refuses to do so, saying, I don't need to play the game to understand what it needs.
Yeah.
Which is like, dude, what the hell?
That's supremely arrogant, yeah.
Yeah. That's a level of hubris, my friend, that comes before a great fall. But yeah, this VTT policy needs to just go. It's got to be gone. It is complete garbage. If they are so afraid that their product is not any good, then maybe they shouldn't release it. Or maybe they should go back to the drawing table and actually fix it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, nah, I'm good. Alright. So I pull up the dumpster fire again. Here we go. Alright. So what are our thoughts on what's coming? Well, I'm going to say my thoughts and then I'll let you chime in, Gamera, because I'm fairly certain you got some unique ideas too. Alright. Thank you, Queen K Play, for the lurk. I appreciate that. And hey, Ein, welcome. Alright. So here are my thoughts. I think Wizards is not going to back down on revoking the old OGL. That is their hard red line that will not be crossed. They're ending it one way or another. It's what the shape of the new OGL is what they're trying to get from the community to the best of their ability. There are certain things in this new OGL I think are going to be harder to get rid of than others. I think the VTT policy is going to be one of the hardest things to get rid of because they are so dead set on this and they put so much money into their VTT that they want to kneecap everybody else as much as possible.
Yeah.
I don't see them backing down from it easily. Now, some of the things that was discussed, like the laws about, or the rulings on what is offensive, what is not, things of that nature, I see that being more malleable, especially since they made it very vague in their wording. So I could see them backing down on that more likely than anything else. because they don't seem to have put much effort into that. But that is one thing there. And I see them rewriting the sections that allowed him to revoke the license in such a way that he uses more legalese to hide what they're actually doing. Like, I don't think the wording what we got here is going to be our final wording. I think it's going to be more differently written in such a way that the average person is going to have trouble understanding it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not the average person that's going to interpret this. After the shit they've pulled, no one's going to go, well, that seems common sense. I'm just going to go on what my understanding is. They're going to have lawyers look at this.
Oh, yeah, and that's the big thing that Wizards is not counting on. Because if you look at their behavior so far and how they've acted thus far, they've really relied on the fact that people weren't going to look at this too closely. And that arrogance, I still feel, is prevalent in their company. I don't think they've completely learned their lesson yet.
Skulls for the skulls!
Hey, Inquisition!
Blood for the blood god!
Inquisition is here. Awesome. Now, what is going to be the result if they keep pushing this OGL? Well, it's one of two things. Either one, the OGL they'll push on the community is going to be so garbage and so bad that it's going to push people into other gaming systems. And I saw, for example, one tweet, if I could find it, give me a second, where someone pointed out, like, all the various systems, if you're into it, could be a thing. Like, oh, hey, are you into, dark fantasy? Join Warhammer Fantasy. If you want, what was it? Like, D&D, just like D&D, join Pathfinder. The Call of Cthulhu is like, hey, you like all those Eldritch horrors? Well, join our game. We have that. All that crazy shit. And it got all the way down to Cyberpunk, and then Cyberpunk was very much like, please, God, don't look at us. We don't want to be... Oh, here we are. Pathfinder, Greens 5e community. Have you heard the good news about Pathfinder? Call of Cthulhu. Give me a second. I'll pull it up on the screen. Call of Cthulhu. Enjoyed Eldritch Horror in your 5e games? Go all in and embrace the madness. Powered by the Apocalypse. 5e players don't use the rules anyway, so we went ahead and removed all of them. Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Experience the gritty, perilous world of Warhammer and an immersive and detailed dark fantasy RPG. And then Shadowrun's like, oh god, please don't play us. Just forget we exist, please, somehow. Da, da, da. So, there's that. If they do it badly, it's going to push people to all those other systems. I think Pathfinder is going to get the most growth because it's the most similar to 5e. And then others will grow small amounts, if not moderate amounts. And that's not including whatever Kobold Press throws out.
Right.
Alright, so there is that. If they make the 5e, the 1.2 or whatever one new OGL actually decent and not terrible, they're still going to lose some people, and we are going to see some growth in Pathfinder and the other games, but it's not going to be as, what's the word I'm looking for? Severe. There's not going to be like a mass exodus of players to other systems. Because, let's be brutally honest, third-party content creators are the reason these games are successful. If it wasn't for third-party content creators, D&D would not have lived. God damn it, my fireball's not working. Why is it not working? Alright, let me go back to just chatting. I'm going to double check my trigger fire because something's not up right here.
Yeah.
I'm going to try re-adding it. Yes, I want to re-add trigger fire.
Damien?
Trigger
Damien!
fire. Oh, really? Okay, copy, paste. Alright, there we go. Let me try that first. Nope. Okay. Let me see if that works. I think what happened was when my Twitch did a reset, it messed with it. And I think that's what I had to do. Let me... But... What's his name's worked okay? Let me try that now. No, still not working. What the hell is going on?
Well, if you don't mind, I'll talk about some of my thoughts while you're wrestling with this.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So, basically, Wizards has gone on a campaign of just burning trust. The OGL is just kind of the recent symptom, because before that you had the monetization of Magic, where they put out those $1,000 booster packs that didn't even contain real reprints of cards, just half reprints. But someone mentioned to me the other day another thing that they had done. Wizards had a contract with the company called Gale Force 9 to produce miniatures, accessories. They also use Gale Force 9 to produce some of the D&D books in other countries, so they were a publishing partner. And Wizards tried to just freeze them out of the contract. Like, they just straight up said, we don't really want to do this anymore, bye. And Gale Force 9 had to sue them. This was just a couple years ago. And Wizards just kept slow rolling them thing. Like, the way that it worked is, Gale Force 9 would produce products, but they'd have to send it to Wizards for approval. And so Wizards just was like, yeah, we're not going to approve anything anymore. And so, yeah, they sued and won. And Wizards had to abide by that. But I think it shows a willingness at Wizards and Hasbro to basically be like, fuck everybody else. We're going to get as much as we can. And so under those circumstances, I cannot see anyone looking at this new OGL with any escape clauses in it and going, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
If there's any chance of the rug being yanked out from under you, you have to assume Wizards, as currently constituted, will yank that rug.
Try that. No? I might just have to delete it. Yeah, and I could see that too, to be brutally honest. Because, like, if they get the opportunity to do it, they're going to.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's going to trust them anymore.
And that's entirely reasonable. We should not trust them when they have shown very explicitly that they are not trustworthy.
Oh, yeah.
So they would have to put in writing something that they can't weasel out of. And I think without that, they aren't going to have a third-party ecosystem, at least not a significant one.
And that's not going to go well for them, to be really honest.
No, I agree. I think that they need that. It makes D&D what it is to have all those third parties participating in the market.
Yeah, and if they don't have the third party, then they're screwed.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. See if I can get that working. I had to re-put it in. I'm hoping this works.
Okay.
So we're gonna give it another try. Here we go. Okay, what the hell? Like, everything else works fine.
Maybe Wizards copyright claimed your fireball, man.
Yeah, I know. Nope, guard rifle's not working either. I don't think the point redeems are working.
Okay.
Let me try something. Nope, nothing. This is fucking bizarro weird.
Let's see.
Hey, Cat.
Just testing.
Yeah, I can tell you're testing. Asshole.
Testing your patience.
By kissing their boo-boos and slapping the bitch who made the boo-boo.
Okay, so fireball doesn't work. Maybe I have to put it in caps. Nope. This is bizarre.
Twitch probably updated something and they'll fix it in a week or two.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to turn off fireball then, for now. That means, though, for once, my tavern doesn't get fireballed for a while.
Yep.
I'll live. Alright. There goes my reason for... Stop fireball... No, man, come on. Alright. Yeah. Yeah. Give me a second. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Can I grab the game capture? There we go. Messing with that. I'm 42 today, by the way. Dude, congrats. Happy birthday.
Yes, indeed. Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, my bud. Welcome. Alright, let me turn down the volume of this a bit. Alright. So, yeah, if they don't fix this, I feel like they're definitely going to basically screw themselves in the foot. And that's very true.
Yeah, I mean, Wizards and D&D are big enough that they'll continue, but it is, yeah, it will not be the same, and there will be a lot of people moving to other games.
Well, the fun thing is, I'm not sure if you noticed this and why all this has been happening. Hasbro's been going through their IPs and everything.
Yeah.
And shutting down the ones that don't make them a profit. Or enough of a profit.
What do you mean, for example?
They're not making it... Give me a second. They're not making certain IPs of toys now as much, or at all, because they just weren't profitable. And so, that's one of the things that was discussed in some of the leaks from Hasbro Wizards, is they're talking about doing away with certain companies if they're not their mainstay. They're trying to consolidate down, essentially.
What IPs are you talking about?
Fuck if I know. I mean, that's... Let me look.
Yeah, I mean, I have not heard this, and based on the IPs I most associate with Hasbro, I don't see that going on, but, you know, it could just be IPs that I don't pay attention to.
They're canceling multiple video games. They're canceling most one of the movies for one of their other properties. It says, it doesn't say which one. It just said a project and it was canceled.
Yeah, see, all that's pretty vague.
Yeah. And that was who said that? That was Reuters. How do you pronounce it?
I think it's pronounced Reuters.
Reuters stated that they canceled multiple projects recently.
Yeah, I mean, we know that they canceled 3 or 4 D&D video games alone.
Yeah. So there is that. Yeah, restructuring its assets, and this is Bloomberg. Let's see. Paramount has paid $1.5 billion over 6 years for Champions League, the top European soccer tournament. So EA lost that.
Is EA associated with Hasbro?
No, but it apparently was in this article, and that was at
okay. They're just talking about general media companies doing badly.
Hasbro in 2019 spent $4 billion to acquire Entertainment One for Peppa Pig and PJ Masks, and they're going to start toning down or removing products involving those two properties. Let's see, something called the Yellow Jackets, whatever that is. They're going to be toning that down apparently.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell either. Blah 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 blah. Once again, there's a lot of D&D stuff there. Cox joined Hasbro from Microsoft and worked on video games like Halo. So yeah, they mentioned that. And apparently they're removing a lot of their upfront capital in making things. So, like, all their IPs are going to get less stuff that they're producing out there just to see if there's a demand for it. So, not terrible, but not great. But the big ones they said are, like, a lot of kids stuff, like Peppa Pig, PJ Masks, stuff like that. That's what's taking the big hit.
Yeah, and since they only recently acquired those, they might just be trying to figure out what size that they need to invest in them.
Yeah, that would be my guess. But yeah, that was actually part of the leaks. Like, they were talking about if they weren't making enough money, they were going to be curtailed. And Hasbro Wizards employees were worried about that.
So they started trying to over-monetize themselves so they didn't get curtailed, and they end up fucking up a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah. Go figure. It's the dumb shit people do, huh?
Well, when you say, to people, hey, your job's on the line, then they're going to start getting panicky, and yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, not great at all. And that is a problem. Now, certain companies have definitely taken advantage of this. Some more so than others. Damien, go elsewhere, buddy. I love you to death, puppy, but you're up my ass.
Just waiting for dinner to be done.
Paizo's definitely taking advantage of this wholeheartedly.
Oh yeah, Paizo was right on it.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. Cobalt Press is taking advantage of it. That guy that was doing the whole remaking 5e videos, or whatever it was called, I sent you it like a while back, and we both looked at it, and it's like, the system's kind of dumb. Some of the changes he was making. What the hell? I'm here. Okay. Let me try warping the sector. Alright. He's released the name of his new system, which is Hazards and something. Something that starts with H. Basically,
Hazards and Halflings?
I don't know, something like that. I didn't really care too much about it because, like, after I've watched about 2 to 3 dozen of his videos, I've sat there and gone, I don't think you understand how to make a game system.
Yeah. I mean, it's tricky. You be like, oh yeah, I want to do this and this and this, and then you don't think about interactions. It's a very specialized skill set that it takes to do well.
Yeah, I can't. I'll admit it.
I tried once. I did not succeed. I am not really tempted to try again.
Yeah. I don't think I have the skill set. I have enough to make like a campaign setting, but I don't have anything more than that. Oh God, I remember where I was in the story. I haven't played this game in several months. Oh boy. Do you remember V'ger?
Yeah.
Star Trek Online has now introduced Mirror Universe V'ger.
Neat.
Yeah, it is wanting to wipe all life out of existence.
Good morning.
I mean, in the Mirror Universe, that's fair.
That's yeah. And the Emperor of the Terran Empire, I think it was called. Is it Terran?
Yep.
Yeah, the Terran Empire was Wesley Crusher.
Yep.
Which is really messed up, but really funny.
Yeah.
And now he's become one with V'ger.
I mean, good for him.
Yeah. But with that being said, let's talk about other fun systems you can get into. Pathfinder is definitely one. If you're going to transition to that, you don't have to work too hard to convince, to make many changes to your characters.
Sure, and you know, let's talk a little bit about if you've got an ongoing campaign and you're thinking about converting. You know, you don't have to just stop playing D&D 5 just because you're annoyed with wizards. You can finish your existing campaign, and that's always going to be easier to do than a conversion. I've seen some people go like, well, I'm going to convert my campaign right away. And it was mostly because like they were dependent on D&D Beyond. And I'm like, that's fine, but you could also just play 5e without D&D Beyond, and then you don't have to go through the conversion effort. You just, play it offline.
Like, for example, let me see if I can find a great example. If I could pull up my page. Let me see what I got. Because I have a folder with all my RPG stuff in it. D&D, characters, 5th ed. Alright, so let me increase this to max size. Display. Here we go. So there are plenty of character sheets you can get to play offline. And if you must play in a computer version, there is a... give me a second, let me pull it up. A form fillable sheet. So there you go. If you're not playing on a VTT like, say, Roll20 or Foundry or something.
Yeah.
But if you're just playing on Zoom and shit, here you go. Problem solved. Here's your character sheet. Just copy your, D&D Beyond stuff to it, and you're going to be doing A-okay.
Yeah, and, if you decide, for whatever reason, you do want to convert, the things that I would recommend people take into account is, one, the feel of the game. You may hear really cool things about this game and that game, but D&D has a particular high fantasy feel that not all other games are going to replicate. And, it may be better to stick with D&D. Pathfinder probably do a good job. A lot of the old school revival or old school Renaissance games probably do pretty well. But just what I would recommend if you're planning on trying to do a conversion is re-session 0 with your group. Get them on board. Make sure they have some input onto what you pick. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, go ahead. I was going to go over some systems that have still that high fantasy feel to them.
Okay, yeah, sure.
There is one that is low fantasy, but it still has fantasy in it. Someone actually made a Game of Thrones role-playing game.
Yeah.
So, if you don't have a lot of crazy magic in your game, there you go. Problem solved. Let's see, Call of Cthulhu is the Eldritch Horror stuff. Legend of the Five Rings is still high fantasy. It's just... It is, but it is very much a Asian feel to it, like Asia. So you're going to have a lot of Mongolian stuff in there, Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, Japanese, all of that combined into this weird amalgam RPG.
It is very flavored towards Japanese, sort of a mystical feudal Japan with clans and shoguns. That is specifically what L5R does. It's probably not a good one to convert to for a generic D&D campaign, but if your campaign is already Asian flavored, then sure.
Yeah, it's not a bad choice. Now, if you finish a campaign and you're looking for a system to try, if you're into giant robots, Mechton Zeta is always good, or Battletech RPG.
We have established contact with someone who knows the Emperor.
Those are both good.
We believe they hold the
Yeah, I mean, if you finish a campaign and are ready for something else, then the possibilities are really endless.
Oh, yeah.
Before I jump to, here are a whole bunch of other things you could try, I was going to say, the other thing I would recommend if you're trying to convert an existing campaign is convert to something where your characters have analogs. And what I mean by that is, like, if you're going from D&D and you pick up one of the OSR type games like Castles and Crusades or whatever, that's great. But, your fighter's going to be happy, your cleric's going to be happy, your wizard's going to be happy, but what about your warlock? Your warlock might not have an analogous class in that other system. So you want to think about things like that, like does each of my players' characters have something that they would be happy playing? And that kind of goes back to what I said about Recession Zero. Kind of go over the options. Because you don't want to change horses midstream and then have somebody go, I can't play my character anymore, he sucks, it doesn't feel the same. It's super frustrating.
Yeah. By the way, Wizen, this is Mirror Universe Crusher, not Standard Crusher. So, hence the color hair change. So, there is that. Yeah, like, if you looked at her coat, it had the Terran Empire symbol on it. She's Mirror Universe. So, there is that. I will say, though, like, if you want a great example of a transition that went poorly, Critical Role had that. And that was when they went from Pathfinder to 5e. I think his name was... there it is. His character's name was Tiberius Stormwind. Alright? He was a sorcerer in Pathfinder. And he played a sorcerer in 5e. And he could not reconcile the differences between the two. Because in 5e, sorcerers are more resource management than they are in Pathfinder. By, like, a large margin.
Sure.
And he had some issues. He had various things that got him inevitably kicked off of Critical Role.
Oh, the dude that got kicked off.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember hearing about that.
Yeah, he got kicked off for a multitude of reasons, all right? And here's some things, by the way, if you're a player, don't do these things, all right? 1, don't try to be a spotlight hog. Don't do that.
That makes you a dick.
Yeah, it basically makes you a giant dick, as Ann just put it. 2, don't cheat. Like, why? Why would you cheat? There's no point in it. Like, and that's one of the things he did. He kept rolling the dice and then picking up the dice before anybody could see it. And that was a big problem. Excuse me for a moment while I drink some water there.
Yeah, hydrate.
Hydrate. The third one is try to get along with not just your DM but the other players. He had a hard time getting along with everybody at the table, and he especially conflicted with the DM. He did not particularly care for how Matt Mercer ran his game. If you are having problems with a DM running a game, 1, try talking to the DM, see if you could work it out. If you can't work it out, leave. Find another game.
Yep.
Most DMs will understand. Most good DMs will understand that and not be mad
Yeah.
at you.
As I'm not sure if people can hear Ann right now, it's most DMs will understand that and not hold it against you.
You look like a person with something on their mind.
So there is that, and I wanted to point that out. Now, once again, it depends on what you're aiming for with your RPG, because some people run D&D weird, and they try to make D&D do things that normally it doesn't do. Like Cyberpunk and stuff. I've seen Cyberpunk D&Ds, and I'm like, please don't do that. Like, I get you really want to play D&D, but because you understand the system, but the system is not great for all settings.
Sure, yeah.
This is not for you.
Interesting choice of word.
If I was going to say you want a cyber setting, Shadowrun's not a bad choice, though it's a little weird. Starfinder's not bad if you're willing to deal with a little bit of homebrewing, because Starfinder as itself has some major issues.
That's an understatement.
The encounter system is not balanced at all. So there is that. If you want modern, World of Darkness is pretty good for that. If you want fantasy, modern. And then if you, like I said, if you want like tech stuff, BattleTech or Mechton Zeta are both good for that. Hi, dog. Can you please get down? I'm trying to keep the dog from jumping on my ass.
That's right. I've developed a countermeasure to his abilities.
So there is that. Is there any systems that stand out to you that you would think would make decent games for someone leaving 5e?
For someone leaving 5e. So if you're looking for similar stuff, I think Pathfinder is fantastic. It's the best one I know about. Now, Kobold Press is probably going to come out with something that's pretty solid. They have a good track record, so whatever they do, that might also be a good option. I would also recommend that people look at maybe if you're enjoying how less complex 5e is compared to a lot of RPGs, you may want to even go even fluffier. Rules-like games like Fate. Fate is fine. It's not my cup of tea. I prefer something a little crunchier, but if you like the simplicity of the rules of 5e, that could be a good way to go. What else? There are a lot of old school revivals games out there. Tons of them. If you just really like the kind of dungeon crawly aspects, dungeon crawl classics, Castles and Crusades. There are a whole bunch of them. Just look up OSR, D&D, and you will see tons of them out there.
Oh yeah, and there's some guys who
Welcome,
did
traveler.
some cool stuff. Jerkin Gaming, welcome to the tavern. Grab yourself a mug of ale, pull up a chair, have fun. Don't fireball my damn tavern. Let me think. I'm trying to think of other fun things.
I've been in a lot of battles in my time.
There was something else I wanted to cover with this, and I'm trying to remember what my brain is trying to tell me. I hate it when that happens.
Yeah. I will say that if you're just looking for other popular games that you'll have an easy time finding a group for, Pathfinder is one of the more popular alternatives. Call of Cthulhu is one of the more popular alternatives. Trying to think if there's anything else specifically I would recommend.
There's the new Avatar: The Last Airbender RPG that's gotten very popular.
Yeah, I mean, is that officially out yet?
It's officially out. Its Kickstarter succeeded, and they've sent out their books. I have them on PDF. Because I kickstarted it.
Okay.
They also have physical dice that they can offer you. I have the core playbook. I have the Wei Shi Tong Adventure Guide. And then there's another book I have, and I can't remember what it is.
Long-range sensors have picked up the other at the edge of the system. They're on a direct course to shoot.
So there is that, and that's decent. And look for Kickstarter too. Sometimes Kickstarter has some really good RPGs out there.
I'd like you to deliver a system upgrade module
Okay,
to the station.
Damien.
Ultimately, whatever you enjoy most, whatever sorts of things you enjoy most, are probably going to be the things that you'll invest the most in terms of an RPG. So, if you like horror and investigation and monsters, yeah, absolutely, give Call of Cthulhu a try. And also, look up videos and talk to people who've played the game. I will say that for years, I had a negative impression of Call of Cthulhu. Like, I thought it was impossible to run a campaign because your characters were just, dying by the boatloads. It's the pile of dead bards. And that's not really true. I mean, yes, the default game has a pretty high lethality, but there's also a pulp variant, which is much, much better. I've been running Pulp Cthulhu for 5 or 6 sessions now. We have not had anybody go permanently insane. We haven't had anybody die. It's going very well.
Which is great.
Yeah.
My wife just handed me dinner. So it's like, oh.
All hands go to red alert.
Now, I will say this. There is... What was it? What was the word I'm looking for?
Good luck out there.
whatever system you go with, I will say this: make sure everybody's on board for the system in your group, because that's one thing I've been encountering in my games. Is we have one or two people who are just not really into what we're doing.
Yep.
And I've noticed that they've been less interactive.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's something I wish I could find a way to work, but I just can't get it.
Sure.
Oh, here we go. Why is in Pulp Cthulhu? It sounds like fun. The hardness always is why I avoided Call of Cthulhu as well. Oh! V'ger is purple now. It's every...
Ships warping in near Projector Station Alpha.
Yep.
But yeah, Pulp Cthulhu is amazing. Basically, the very, very short version is you get twice as many hit points. You get a luck stat that you can spend and that recovers with every session that you can use to, reduce sanity damage and stave off death. It feels more like it's still cosmic horror, but you're Indiana Jones, and so you can actually get away with some things that a normal human can't get away with.
Yeah, that may not survive it. I think a better example is not necessarily just Indiana Jones. You could also do Rick from The Mummy.
Absolutely.
Now, the funny thing is, I saw a video today where someone... I just got raided by Blue Nerd! Hey! Hey, Blue Nerd! How you doing, buddy? I hope you had a great stream. Let me do SO Blue Nerd. Please work, please work, please work. Is it gonna work? There we go.
I'm leading Seesaw!
Oh, the deadly seesaw that we all hate in that damn game. Fall Guys. No, the seesaw is horrible in that game. It's basically, if everybody jumps on one side of it, you're screwed. And that's what everybody tends to do in order to try to get to the end faster.
I see.
So, like, you have to basically try to convince people to not be greedy bastards in order to complete it when you have a distinct reason to be a greedy bastard.
It's the prisoner's dilemma.
Yeah. Oh, boy. So, there is that. I wish it was the Penguin God clip, though. Yeah, that could be fun. Now, if there's any system I would say I would like to try one day, it's actually the RPG system for the game I'm playing. And that is Star Trek Adventures. It looks fun to me. I want to give it a try.
I think I've had one session of it, maybe. I've played almost every Star Trek RPG that they've ever made for at least 1 or 2 sessions, because I have a guy in my gaming group who is famous for campaign ADD, but he's a big Star Trek nerd, so many of the campaigns he's started and briefly run have been Star Trek ones.
Nice. I actually, like, at one point sat down with Anne back there and came up with a way to explain the Fremen from Dune in Star Trek.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That was fun.
Without making them, like, reliant on seeing the future shit.
Okay.
We also found a way to explain spice.
Yeah, and I also found a way to explain spice without making it, oh, hey, it extends your consciousness.
It's just a naturally occurring drug on the planet. Fremen are immune to it.
Yeah. I made it just a drug.
Sure.
Highly addictive drug.
Yeah, highly... Oh, God. The other killed one of the big Klingon ships.
The
But,
briefings are one thing. The Terran in me hates her.
yeah.
Get out of my kitchen.
That went poorly. We're trying to get into this cloud without dying, and that didn't go well.
The battle at Jupiter Station. Join us.
Oh no, this is several dungeons in a row. I don't want to mess with your shit.
Trying to think if there are any other particularly good, RPG examples of trying shit out. Traveler's another one that I, for a long time, was sort of biased against, but I was watching the YouTuber Seth Skorkowski, and his enthusiasm for the game just sort of infected me, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll check it out. And I really dig it. I had an impression of... the thing that everybody knows about Traveler is that you can die in character generation, which is no longer true unless you're using optional rules to specifically allow that.
That's weird. Die in character creation?
So, yeah, I guess this is worth a little sidebar. Some games use what's called life path character generation. You don't decide what your character is. Like, you're not like, well, I'm going to be the ship mechanic. You can say, well, I want to try to be the ship mechanic, and I'm going to see what happened along my character's life and try to go for that, but maybe his life ended up taking him in a different direction. So it's kind of neat. It sort of surprises you in some of the ways that a character can develop. So in Traveler, your character starts at age 18, and then you can decide in 4-year blocks how you spent your time. And when you feel like you've done, enough, like, okay, he's 34. I'm gonna, that's when we're gonna start his adventure. You stop rolling to see what has happened to him. So yeah, that first 18 to 22-year-old period, do you want to go to college? Do you want to go to the Naval Academy? Do you want to try to go right into a career? And there are roles on charts to see, okay, did you succeed in this? Was there any mishap during this time? Did you have any special life events? And what skills did you pick up? It's really fascinating in that character creation becomes like a mini game itself.
Which could be neat. I could see that being neat.
Yeah, and in the older versions of Traveler, you absolutely could have a career period mishap. It's like, sorry, you're dead, start over.
It's like, oh dear Christ.
But the more recent versions of Traveler basically say, no, that's not how it works anymore. You instead, what you have is injuries, and the way an injury works is like, oh yeah, you had a critically injured leg. Well, we have the technology to fix that. So instead of your character being missing a leg, your character had to spend 10,000 credits getting a cloned replacement leg. And so now you're 10,000 credits in debt, giving your character a reason to go adventuring to earn money.
Yeah, which makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's a much better way to do things.
Yeah, I like that better than the old system. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, one topic I had in mind to discuss if we didn't have other things to talk about, and we have plenty of time, is questions you can ask to develop an RP backstory that are system agnostic.
Sure.
And I feel like that would be helpful. Are there any, like, what process do you tend to go for when making a character?
I'm making a character for my own, like, not as an NPC, but just as a player character.
Yep.
Usually, I come at it from the other end. It's like, what do I feel like playing? What do I want my role to be? Not necessarily a class, but like, what do I want my job to be for the party? And then I think about what sort of personality, what kind of person would do that job. So for me, it's all about how I fit into the party, and then about, okay, well, let's think about what this character is.
Right.
To give you an example from your game, Barton Kendo is like, okay, everybody's playing a Force user, so I need to play the skill monkey because otherwise we're screwed.
Yeah. Can I get a knife?
And look, I brought Terrans that don't want to shoot you. Well, today anyway.
Thank you.
Remember, we're not fighting to win. We're fighting not to lose.
Our station here. No transports remain. Get to Earth.
This is a giant losing battle. Why do I feel like I'm fighting the board from freaking season 1, like, what was it, season 2 or 3 of TNG? what was the... You know the episode I'm talking about, Best of Both Worlds?
Oh, yeah, that's season 3, I think.
Yeah, I think it was season 3. I feel like I'm fighting the Borg from that. Like, everybody's like, just retreat, 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 retreat. Let's not die. I will say that when I build a character, I'm kind of the same relative mindset. It's like, what does the party need? What is it missing? Like, where can I fit into that?
Sure.
So I tend to be one of the last people to make a character in the
Yep.
party, but that usually works out for me.
Yeah.
And it's not because I want to force party balance as a DM either. I just usually recommend party balance because that's a good way to make your character feel useful without stepping on someone else's toes.
Yes.
And that's one thing I've noticed in some games, like excuse me for a second. The Saturday D&D game I'm in, that you've seen me in, they have 3 druids.
Damn. I mean, it's a versatile class, but I probably would have limited it to 2.
Yeah, they have 3 druids, a blood hunter, something else, I forget what it was. And I'm the only fighter.
E.
We don't have a rogue.
Mars has fallen. Destruction and battle.
Oh, what was it? Like, we don't have a rogue. I don't think we have a wizard anymore.
The Lisette went out fighting.
I mean, the rogue really hurts just for the skills. I guess other people could theoretically pick up those skills, but...
Yeah, but not well enough. Not like the rogue.
Yeah.
This might be our last stand. The science teams are still working on a way to reach the core of the other, but none of their efforts have been successful. We've transported as many as we can to save. Glad to hear it.
Let's
Every
see.
minute
I
more
have
lives saved.
new people to establish relations with.
Defend Earth at all costs.
The Avarian
Buy as much
Star
time for
League.
evacuation as you can. Sean out.
Specialists are necessary for smooth play. It might be a big challenge for the DM. Yeah, it is. He's definitely having a challenge. And the other problem is I'm the fighter, and at best I can only show up every other week.
Yeah.
So I'm not always there. The people who are always there are the 3 druids and the blood hunter. I forget what his other class is. He's multi-classing though.
Right.
And oh boy, is it rough. Because he was multi-classing originally Blood Hunter Druid, and then he dropped Druid because there was just too many damn Druids.
Too many cooks.
And then as soon as he dropped Druid, they got another player into the game who played a Druid. He's just like, Christ. I think he did Bard. I think he's Blood Hunter Bard.
I mean, Bard can fill in those gaps. And that's not an innuendo.
Are you sure about that?
Quite sure.
Alright. Yeah, Jesus. Bard is very much a good cover everything class.
Yeah.
I will say though, like, it depends on also the character I'm playing. I also try to give every character I make a flaw, like a major flaw that they have to overcome throughout the story, or succumb to it, depending on the situation. Like my half dragon drunken master, his thing is he drinks to forget. That's his big thing. And his alcoholism is something that the party has to help him overcome.
Sure. I'm not a big flaw-motivated player. I don't necessarily... I will make characters that have quirks or, particular patterns of thinking that could be construed as flaws, but it's like, I'm not really here to explore the darkness of a character. I'm here for more the escapist fantasy side. So I don't tend to make things that are like an alcoholic character.
Oh shit! Sorry, I just reacted to what happened in the game. V'ger just showed up.
We came as soon as possible.
What up, V'ger?
So we got blue V'ger versus purple other.
Understood. I will begin work on that.
And there's Ilea.
It's afoot, eh? So be it.
Okay.
I'm glad you're making this interesting.
You don't get people
I
food.
was starting to
Sorry. That just shocked the shit out of me there for a moment.
We will engage the other.
Yeah.
Defend the other.
With that being said, well, I don't see it necessarily as a dark aspect with the flaws. It's just more of, I want to give my character somewhere to grow.
Yeah, and see, I'm not necessarily about a character's journey. I'm there to enjoy and do a job. If I find an opportunity in the game organically, it's like, oh, this would be an interesting way to take the character, I might do that, but I don't go in planning like, yes, I'm either going to succumb to this or overcome it. That's just not how I tend to organize my thoughts.
Yeah, that makes sense. And there's nothing wrong with that, either approach.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. And not every flaw I have is like a major flaw either. Some of them are like little minor issues or things of that nature. I feel it gives my characters a little bit more depth, especially since I rarely get to play characters.
Right, yeah.
I've usually am the forever DM.
Yep.
Give it to yourself for being a good DM.
Yeah, and I've done it so often that, been the DM so often that I've made it a point to start making NPCs to travel with the party so I could at least experience being a player.
You know
Right.
what issues with the DM
engaged in battle.
We need to move.
Now, mind you, I know some people have like major issues with DMPCs.
Yeah, they do not have a good reputation, and there's a good reason for that. They can be done well.
We made it. Let's work.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get this over with.
So I try to do them as well as I can.
Up with my doppelganger. This ought to be interesting. Stay sharp.
Mage with picking his nose problem? I mean, that's minor, but sure.
I'd expect nothing.
I had a player once who made it was back in the 2nd edition days when things were a little loosey-goosey with multiclassing. He had a half-elven mage cleric, and he had a familiar, a goat, to whom he was allergic. He was allergic to his own familiar.
The notches of critical engine components. Disable them to reduce energy generation and flow.
And I'm like, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, it makes you happy, man. It makes you happy. Now, I've had some people play characters that have flaws that were just, like, way too much.
Yes, I will. There was a fellow I played with in a 4th edition game, and we were playing in a Dark Sun 4th edition game, and it was pretty good. And of course, like a lot of Dark Sun campaigns, it started out with us all being enslaved, and the first, encounter is essentially us defeating our captors and escaping from slavery. But the backstory was that we'd been in the desert at this mine for months, slaving away, mining in this mine.
Right.
And then, we escape, we make our way back to a town, and then the player hits us with the revelation, my character is critically addicted to some drug, and he's going to go find that. And we were like, we've been in a mine for 3-4 months. You've detoxed, buddy. He's like, no, I got to go find this. So I was just like, this is wasting so much time that we don't have. What I finally had my character do was roll a deception check. I sold him some oregano. Yeah, this is the drug you're looking for.
Yeah, this is totally the drug you're looking for. Ignore the smell. Oh yeah, it's used in all kinds of food, by the way.
Yeah, and it was just like, and it was the same character, this is the one that killed us, literally in one case. He had a crippling fear of enclosed spaces. He was a claustrophobic. In a game called Dungeons and Dragons, his character couldn't go underground.
That's
without him forcing himself to make a will save or collapse into the fetal position.
Now, if you want to make your character claustrophobic, that's fine. Just don't make it that claustrophobic.
Well, consider the game you're playing and clear it with the group, because holy shit.
Like, in that situation, I would have, like, if I wanted a claustrophobic character in D&D, I would have been like, yeah, I'm fine with going underground, but if I'm in a tight, enclosed space, then I'll have an issue. Like,
sure.
You've seen Deep Space Nine.
A tunnel. Yeah.
Like, you remember the wall that Garrick was in?
Sure.
You know, I think was the episode. It was the episode where they were in a Dominion prison.
Okay.
And Garrick had to be inside a wall to, like, mess with the wiring to get a signal out.
Yeah.
That one. If you're in that kind of an enclosed space, I could see claustrophobia being a problem.
Sure.
But, like, just going underground in a cave, I'm like, nah, man, you're good. It's like, Christ, man. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I had one player. What was the word I'm looking for?
It looks like something's happening inside.
He was. How do I put it? I don't remember the exact wording for it. I don't remember what he labeled it as, but essentially his mental illness turned him into a murder hobo.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? And it's like, why would you do that? That seems dumb as hell.
Also disrespectful to a lot of people who have mental illnesses who,
yeah,
don't deserve to be stigmatized that way.
Patriotism is dying for the Empire, not the Emperor.
What are those large pylons? They seem related to the plasma bolts that give other fires.
They are part of the most launches.
Yeah, it's just, goddamn, that was bad. Tell me you don't understand mental illness without telling me you don't understand mental illness.
Yeah.
That is a good example. Another one, a good example, is someone who played a pacifist character in a D&D game.
Pacifists.
That goes poorly more often than not. I mean, there are ways you can play a pacifist character, don't get me wrong. But you have to be able to be a good support character at that point then.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you are not going to have a good day.
Yep.
And that's a major problem. Hi, dog. Go elsewhere.
Well, like I said, if you're playing a character that has just an absolute crippling phobia or a crippling, philosophy or ethos that really hinders their ability to contribute to the party, clear that with your other players. Don't be like, I'm going to be a pacifist, and if you guys ever attack anybody, I'm going to murder you.
That makes no sense.
Or I'm going to be a pacifist. Even if someone's trying to murder me, I'll just, take the bullet to the face. I mean, that's a little more defensible, but holy crap. You are essentially cutting off just a whole avenue of normal adventuring activity. And so you need to be able to say to the rest of your party, like, yes, I know this could be a hindrance to us in some circumstances. I'm going to make up for it by being this to the party, so I will be contributing.
Yeah, like, if I was going to play a pacifist character, I'm going to use Pathfinder as an example because it's the system we know best. I would play a cleric, a bard, or an oracle.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I would do. Because they're the best chance of doing support without having to be combat. And hell, You could do pacifism in a way where you're all about tricking your opponent and being like, I'm just not going to do damage.
Yeah.
So you could be like, I'm putting opponents to sleep. I'm putting guys like in little illusionary bubbles where they can't figure out what the hell is up. Like, do shit like that.
I'm doing social combats.
Damn, now I want to play pacifist bard.
Yeah.
I just talked myself into wanting to play a pacifist bard. Ah, Wizen just brought up the good old-fashioned Aes Sedai. Here's the problem with the Aes Sedai. They're not pacifists. They will not murder someone with the one power. That does not mean they will not kill your ass in self-defense.
Yeah.
Alright? They are very particular about their wording. Alright? I'm a big Wheel of Time fan. Like, I love the books to death. Except for, like, the last 5.
Sure.
Because the author just dragged things on and on and on forever.
Didn't he die?
Yeah, on the last book.
I thought someone finished the book.
Yeah, someone had to
him.
finish the book for him.
Sean, your damage output is a little low. Want some pointers?
Yeah, it was just like, God damn it, man.
Try not to fry your power grid showing off for the others.
So there's that. I will say, though, there is a Wheel of Time RPG.
Yep. I used to own it.
It was actually pretty good. It wasn't, I would not label it as amazing, but it was not terrible.
Sure.
I especially liked what they did with casters. With the ability to link casters together. That was a neat mechanic. And I was very down for that. If I ever could get my hands on the book again, I might try to incorporate something similar to that in one of my games. Like allowing casters to link their spells together just for a little extra damage.
Sure.
Or a little extra effect in some way. Whether it's raising the DC, doing extra damage, or healing extra damage, or whatever.
Yeah.
Dog, go elsewhere. Dog is standing next to me whining. Now he's barking.
Yeah.
Chill, chill. Oh, Wizen has summoned the Damien. See, hi, puppy. Hey, buddy. See? It's okay, bud. This is Damien. Damien's a good boy.
Live and die for the Emperor. Terrans to the...
Alright.
The Emperor lost his way. Once, I would have died for him. No
Dog,
more.
you're fine. You're fine, buddy. You're fine. God. So, like, there are, like, some questions I do ask, though. Hi. Wizen's like, I can't wait until I have space for a dog. That, I get that, man. Like, we wanted a puppy. Sometimes you're a pain in the butt, but I love you nonetheless, pup. And he's a mixed breed. So that's cool. I will say some of the questions I ask myself is, alright, does my character, where did they come from? Do they have parents? What's their extended family like? Stuff like that.
Sure.
And those are all good questions to ask if you're building a character, because let's be brutally honest, nobody's character spawns out of the ether.
No.
Or very rarely does it. That does happen on occasion. So, there is that. I'm heading head towards the light. Oh man. I can tell whoever made this mission was definitely a Star Trek 1 fan, and they paid attention to a lot of details.
Mm-hmm.
Terran fleet, this is Captain Sean of the USS Enterprise. Stand down. This isn't a fight.
Unfortunately, though, they also took into account the size of the damn thing.
Yeah.
Stranger things have happened. We're fighting together for one.
So there is that. Another thing to consider, before your character came into existence as an adventurer, you had a job. Nobody's job is just straight up adventure. It's usually you've had some sort of profession before getting into this. Or you have a profession in mind. Like, oh, I want to be a hero one day. Okay, so you want to... What happens if you're not saving the day or stuff like that? Are you being a noble? Are you being a blacksmith? Are you, like being a constable?
Yeah, I will say that's one of the things I like best about the Call of Cthulhu system is that, character generation, other than stats, starts with what do you do? What's your job?
Yeah. Mom and Dad managed a local schoolhouse. I grew up in relative comfort and safety. Rebelling against my parents, refused to go to academic college. I chose to strike out with my uncle's old sword. Boom! See? Problem. There's no problem there. I think that's a perfectly suitable backstory.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the one Wizen just wrote in chat.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, that's a good one. Hey, buddy. Why aren't you pestering Anne? Why are you constantly on me?
Those nodules below are
What was that?
giving off some energy.
The nodules control a force field.
Oh, I might have to bring the dog to my wife.
Then destroy them.
Moving to engage the shield generators.
Oh boy. Oh, now he went to her. Yeah, he loves me. I know. Thank you, Squidgy.
So glad that function still works.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. It's just the fireball that is not working.
I thought you tried Anne's intro earlier. Did that work?
Anne's intro works.
Okay, I wasn't... Since I don't hear everything because of the way I'm wired through Discord, I just didn't notice if it worked or not.
Yeah, it worked. The only thing that didn't work was fireball.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to either remake it or do something, mess around with it. Oh, no, also the guard didn't work either. Oh, I still have my 2.5k points. Yes, I refunded them. I refunded your 2.5k points. Or are you talking about with the Damien? I know I refunded your points for the fireballs. I don't know. I didn't touch your Damien one yet. Yeah. Because, like, I refunded everybody's fireball that didn't work. Because it's not fair to charge you for a fireball that didn't work.
It happens to lots of wizards.
Yeah. You know, if V'ger could be killed this way, this is ridiculous. God damn. Let's see. So, having a profession is always a good idea, or something to do during your downtime. Alright? Talk with your DM about it, see what you can do. More often than not, I've had players take up the idea of running a business, owning some land, something along those lines, and they've used the Pathfinder downtime actions for that.
Allied ships on sensors.
What the hell? We have the ISS and USS Enterprise. That's just weird.
Nice.
This is weird.
Two universes are merging.
Oh no, here's that doorway again.
It's an anus.
Yep, with a glowing aspect to it. So it's a glowing anus?
Yeah.
Look.
A glowing aspect.
It's a smaller version of the other.
Smaller, yes. but also deadly, judging by our sensor readings.
It's in our way.
The hell was I doing? Oh yeah, I remember.
Just what I need. The other. Oh no. So, I will say that. Now, what was I going to say? There are several ideas you could possibly do that may work for character design. I would say, like, one of the things I always consider, though, is maybe incorporate siblings. Siblings can always add some fun to a character, I've noticed.
Yes, they can.
Especially sibling banter.
Yes, but I have occasionally had issues with GMs not using backstory characters correctly.
That's true.
It's just like, if I've got a picture in my head of what their sibling relationship is like, and then the GM is like, oh yeah, your brother shows up and he's all punching me in the arm and, being all... It's like, no, that's not at all how they're supposed to interact. What are you doing? Stop.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be careful about that. But there's also the possibility of, like, talking over your DM, make sure it's, covered. But also incorporating other players as the sibling.
Oh, that would be better.
Yeah, I've gotten better results with that. Both as a DM and as a player. The few times I've gotten to be a player. Where it's like, oh shit, this is my brother, so on and so forth. Like one game I want to do is with my friend Dalton, and he's gonna play a rogue, and I'm gonna play a bard. And yes, it's going exactly where you think it is.
Where do I think it's going?
Road to El Dorado.
That did not immediately come to mind, but yes, that's an excellent prototype.
Yeah. And Anne is going to be playing our adopted mother.
Okay.
She's playing a dwarven cleric and was praying to her deity for, her mission, her goal, whatever it was that she was praying for. And we fell through the roof.
Okay.
As kids. Because, like, we were living on the street, just surviving, as, like, little scallions. Like, we didn't have the evil, dark backs to, like, I survived on the streets and had to fight people all the time because I'm so edgy.
Right.
No, we were more like the laughing type, like, fuck, we're on the street. Okay.
Incidentally, I think you're thinking of rapscallions, because scallions are onions.
Yeah, rapscallions. God damn it.
You were surviving as tiny onions, which just made a great funny image in my head.
God damn it, my brain.
My character has layers.
Layers!
Like an ogre, or onions.
It can't take much more. Keep it up.
Dog, chill, please.
Poor puppy just doesn't understand why you can't be looking at him all the time.
I know. And this happens every time I sit at my computer. Like, without fail. What was that, hon? Yeah, because I'm busy and he wants attention from everybody all the time. And now he's going to make a fucking liar out of me.
He wants to be acknowledged as a good boy.
Oh, yeah. I just saved my ass.
The Inquisitor and I will cover you out here. The rest is up to you.
Pros, the others. This is his maw? Are you sure it's a maw and not his anus? You sure about that game? Oh man, this is gonna be a problem.
I mean, to be fair, I've never seen a Star Trek movie without a colon in it.
That's horrible.
They made it. I can't help but true.
Alright, enter the other. Okay, yep, that's the party I want. Let's go. I swear, pets understand English better than you think. They get tone.
Say I'm thrilled to be in here again. The list of people who have come here and survived to tell the tale is pretty short. Right. We'll need to...
Alright, she's like, please, we gotta survive. And I'm like, okay. Don't worry, I have weapons and crazy people.
Every other civilization in this galaxy is an authoritarian xenophile.
And what are you?
I'm a materialist xenophile.
So, it's weird.
Yeah, everybody loves everybody. Haven't run into a xenophobe yet, I don't think.
Congratulations.
Thank you. He's going to do great things one day.
I have the results of the med scans you requested as well.
Oh boy.
His neural capacity and cognitive ability, they're amazing.
We realize we must report these findings to Section 31, yes?
No. Unless you want your affair with the Vulcan exposed as
Oh,
well.
excuse me.
No, I do not, Doctor.
Then we have an understanding. You're dismissed. Don't
Oh.
you worry, Wesley. I won't allow my son to be a lab rat, dissected by some Section 31 butcher. I'll do everything I can to protect you. Always.
What? What are you doing?
What the hell was that? Is this in college?
Ow.
Shoot first. Answers later.
Fuck it, I'm calling in the big things. Where's Balama? Where's Balama? You know what? Fuck it, I'll raise you. God damn, everybody... These things hit like a Mack truck. There's Balama. Get up. You can't sleep on the job. Let's see what else.
Yeah, circling back to your idea about sibling characters, yeah, I think that's a much better way to do it.
Oh yeah.
In the current 5e game that I'm in, we considered making two of our half-elven characters siblings, but ultimately, me and the other player just had different ideas of what we wanted our parents to be like. So we opted to just, be unrelated half-elves.
Which happens. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I
I know in one of the Pathfinder games I played in, I played an ASMR, and so did Anne, and we were siblings.
Uh-huh.
And she was a cleric and I was a paladin.
Uh-huh.
And that worked out great until the game exploded.
Yeah.
And I mean, that happens, so. You could also have characters as in a relationship other than sibling, like, actual romantic relationship.
Yeah, that's not something I usually ever do, but it is absolutely an option. Of course, you want to make sure that it does not become a distraction for the other players. There is a danger that two characters playing out a relationship will become kind of a spotlight hog in the hybrid.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
But as long as you're mindful of that, absolutely.
Yeah, just keep in mind of that, and definitely make sure everybody's okay with it.
And I've accepted the offer.
The new flagship? That's great, Mom.
He assured me that you'll be allowed on board, but you'll need to maintain your ruse, son.
What? No.
Oh, what else? Let me think.
I'm tired of hiding what I can do.
I've never seen parent and kid yet.
Jellicoe knew about your gifts.
It's not one that I... Let me think for a second here.
You need to be patient, son. Jellicoe is weak.
I've never seen it done in the same campaign. I have had a player like play a daughter or son of a previous character, but I've never seen like one player is playing the parent and the other player is playing the child.
Even in the adopted sense.
Right. At least not that I recall. That is something that I would think would be a little unusual just because of the asymmetrical power in the relationship.
I could agree with that.
You know, nothing wrong with it if that's what you and the other player want to do, but it does mean that one character has nominal authority over another character, which is always fraught with interesting dynamics.
Yeah, that I don't see that working well unless everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to respawn. I keep getting taken out because I was in the center of the circle. Be great, elf parent, half-elf child. That could work.
I mean, age-wise, that would be fine.
Yeah, I don't see that being a problem. Or, like, adoption, once again, is always an option. So your parent is a different race than you.
Yeah.
And you tend to play one of the younger races. I mean, that happens to half-orcs all the time.
Captain Jellicoe made an enemy of Jean. Few do that and live to tell the tale, and he...
Yeah, I mean, that would be kind of interesting, especially, like, I've seen half-orcs with that. I've seen humans do that. The weirdest adopted parentage I've ever seen was a lizard folk.
The kid was a lizard folk or the parent?
The kid.
Okay.
The kid was a lizard folk, and the parents were human.
Fair.
But they weren't players. It was like the lizard folk was the character, and the parents were just NPCs.
Oh yeah, fair.
It was just like, that's interesting.
How? You were on the Enterprise in deep space, and now you're here? On Terra?
Something's happened, Mom. Something incredible.
Tell
God
me,
damn it.
what happened?
We found something, Mom. Or rather, someone. A being of great power. Power that
I'm trying to think of the other fun things you can do with the character backstory. There's always the refugee backstory that a lot of people like to use. Orphan, same thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a big story behind how your character came to be there are, of course, you know, the usual cautions. Clear it with the GM. Make sure you're not stepping on the lore of the world. And don't make your character's backstory more interesting than the campaign they're about to have. If you've vanquished entire armies and tamed dragons, and now you've been cast down and you're trying to fight your way back to the top, dude, just no. Come on.
Now, there is one backstory I've come up with for a character that one day I'll play him, where he did do all these credible things, but he ended up getting betrayed and losing all of his power, and a creature took away all of his levels too in the process, forcing him to start back at 1.
Sure.
And that, I feel, is an interesting story, like being like the original big bad, and you're rebuilding your power base.
I mean, I guess, but I would worry about how the other players were going to be interacting with, like, oh, he's got 50 years of fucking backstory. What are we, just like the hangers-on while we watch him regain his power? You know, just got to balance that with the interests of the other players.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I would definitely recommend that. Like with him, he's trying to hide that from them, though.
Right.
Because they're the good guys, he's not. And so, for the most part, it would be like that third act reveal. And that's something you still have to work out with the party and the DM to make sure that's okay.
Yes.
But if everybody was on board for it, it could be an interesting third act reveal.
I think the other is trying to tell us something. It's
Potentially.
important.
Could be a little clearer. These visions are getting on my nerves.
What is going on?
Every problem is solved with a phaser and a smirk, Lita.
Let me think. Another thing that I don't see people doing very often
Thank you for seeing me, Your Majesty.
is
Mom,
like the Gandalf-like character.
no need for formalities.
Ooh.
You wish.
Like, not to the extent of Gandalf, though.
Son made the clockwork.
All right?
Okay.
That's a tough thing that does not adapt well to D&D in my experience, and it's basically because there's a fundamental, again, asymmetry there. It's like, this dude knows more about the plot than the entire rest of the party. He is therefore more important to the plot than the entire rest of the party. And you guys, if you ever disagree with him on the course of action, you're by default wrong.
I wouldn't go that far. I'm more talking about, like, the older mentor-like character.
Yeah, I've seen people just do, like, kind of the grizzled older character, but again, Gandalf has a huge power disparity between him and the other players, so it's like, yeah, okay, you're the 18th level wizard tagging along with us 2nd level rogues. Let us know if you need our help with anything. We're gonna go take a nap.
Enough. Take her away.
Yeah. Another good example of it, I would say, is Iroh. If you remember Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I mean, I've seen a few episodes.
All right.
Xenophobe authoritarians.
Nice. Iroh is the uncle to one of the characters.
Yeah, I mean, he's the tea guy. I remember the tea guy.
He's a good example of a good mentor character. So there is that. Jesus. So I could see that working if you want to play like the mentor style character.
I mean, like I said, I'm always wary of mentors because implicitly that means that character knows more than you do, has gone through more than you do, and even if their numerical level is not higher than yours, theoretically you're supposed to defer to their judgment. Now, you don't have to, but it creates an artificial story pressure that I think is more suited to television and movies and doesn't necessarily translate well to an ensemble D&D cast unless handled very carefully.
Yeah, it's not something I would recommend as easy, but it's still an idea that can be done right. That's what I'm going with. Though I did see one suggestion for a warlock patron. It was called the Ouroboros. And essentially what it is your patron is you from the future.
Yeah.
Or a possible future anyway.
Yes.
And they want to see you succeed.
Yes.
And I was like, that's kind of a neat idea.
To this day, I'm surprised he didn't kill me for that. He's killed people for a lot less. He might regret that soon. By that point, he'd made
let me think what else is there. That's craziness.
Nervous enough to facilitate my research, even in prison. And now, we have the countermeasure, which could lead to, I understand.
Let me think of other fun questions to ask or processes to use.
Sure.
Looks like this leads to the center.
Gosh.
And it's a long one. Time to stretch our legs.
See, we discovered family. We talked about where you're from. Which, by the way, if you pick where you're from, keep in mind the culture of where you're from and things of that nature, because that'll still affect you.
Sure you can get him if it comes down to it.
I gave my word. That should be enough for you, Admiral.
Absolutely.
It's gone too far to save. I'll do it.
Yeah, it's like if you're doing like a cultural thing, and it's a very cultural difference from the rest of the party, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Like a good example of this, and like I know I use Critical Role a lot, but it's like super famous, so a lot of people know it. In the second season, we have Caleb, who uses a lot of German. Like he has a German accent, he uses several German words in his language. He has that very different culture from everyone else. And that can sometimes make your character interesting and unique, as long as you don't overdo it.
Right.
It's ready. I'm reading it.
There he is.
And that is the problem. You know, this section of V'ger always like weirded me the fuck out.
Wesley, are we too late? Are you too far gone to save?
You came here to save me. You're the only.
Alright, let's see. What do I want to do with my star base? We're picking up good trade resources there.
It's the first and last step for you. Once I've digitized V'ger, I'll do the same to that pathetic reflection of.
Gotta get
But you and your friend
colonize that.
Of the Emperor and the other.
Alright, let's add some.
I have a feeling he's gonna summon a bunch of shit to bother me.
Let's add some trade collection.
That's always good. Ow.
the right thing here, but you really aren't.
You need to stop this, Wesley, while you still can.
I'm the one doing the right thing, the necessary.
Well, that
Oh man, this is gonna be heinous. Okay, let's just run and do this while we're going.
Run and gun.
Well, in this case, run and flip switches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let the minions deal with it.
Rebuild everything. Eliminate all the flaws, all the mistakes.
Oh Jesus! What the fuck? Okay. Oh, he's wiping out whole areas. That's great.
Defensive pact. Sure, I guess.
No, defensive pact is not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, it's an inferior species, or excuse me, civilization. Oh, and this one wants a non-aggression pact. They're equivalent, so that's probably a good idea. Now, these guys I just did the defensive pact with, I have a sneaking suspicion they're going to ask me to subjugate them.
Is there something wrong with that?
No, it eats up a lot of influence.
Oh, that's true.
I'm good for now, but
Okay, can you please stop shocking me? That would be great. Thanks.
one of the other things, I think we alluded to similar discussions earlier, but that I was just going to mention is that obviously you want to make sure that you're not treading on anybody's feet when it comes to their role.
Yeah.
So if you're taking something that's similar to what somebody else can do, talk it out. Make sure you're not stepping on their toes. My bard recently took a feat to get a little bit of warlock power because I wanted Eldritch Blast and Green Flame Blade, and I cleared it with Matt, who is playing our party warlock. Like, yeah, you know, I'm not trying to step on your toes here. It's just straight up better than a short bow. So.
Wait. He's playing a warlock?
He is, yes.
That is shocking. Who do you pick as a patron?
He is a Pact of the Tome warlock.
Well, yeah, that's the pact type.
I know, but his basic deal is that this was a dangerous book that has a demon sealed in it, and he was a human, but he bound himself to the book to keep the demon locked inside, and thus was sort of physically tainted, so he is mechanically a tiefling. So essentially he's got this terrible burden keeping this dark thing pinned up, and that's what he derives his powers from as well. It's not a bad twist on the formula.
Yeah, I was going with a guy, like, I had a similar character idea, but my guy was, he made a deal with a devil to get away from his family. And the devil was like, okay, I can do that, and turned him into a tiefling with the idea that his family is going to try to kill him.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, that's fun. And I even figured out what kind of devil I was going for, too. I was going to go Rakshasa.
Yes.
That's a good one.
I'm a fan, generally.
Yeah. I mean, they make such great devils, too.
Yeah.
Don't want to be in there.
The other is no longer merged with the
Okay.
Transmitting countermeasure data to you now. Upload the
All
data
right.
at each tower. If I'm right,
The
other will deploy the countermeasure and remove Wesley's powers.
You stop the murder, but you're still in the match. No match at all.
Oh boy, this is gonna go badly.
Wipe you out and start the merge again.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty much what I'm experiencing right now, except I'm fighting an army of Wesleys.
You need a chorus of Picards going, "Shut up, Wesley!"
Oh, that would piss this guy off to no end. Can I assimilate? Nope, I can't assimilate him. I have an assimilation torpedo. That I turn people into temporary Borg.
Neat.
Which is super helpful. Alright, let's get this in here. That's in there. Oh god, this is craziness. Okay, let's...
Ah, damn it.
But, oh man, let me think. What else? Jesus. Oh, it's 9 o'clock already. Jesus Christ. I didn't realize it was 9 already.
Yep.
Alright, maybe when I get to the next part, I'll
Wesley's defenses are weak.
call it good.
There's no choice. Open fire. That's more like it.
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, shoot him! Okay. And they're playing rock music right now,
Right on.
which is really weird. Ow! I just got, like, one-shotted.
Oops.
Upload the countermeasure data. Hurry.
Ow.
I definitely think building connections between the PCs is a good idea. When I started my Cthulhu campaign, I was very careful to try and suggest to the players, like, here's how your character could know these people. That way they could pick out a few and be like, okay, yeah, so when we start to get together, it won't be like a group of strangers suspicious of each other. we'll know, like, oh yeah, this person, I've done an interview with them for their paper, or oh yeah, this rich nobleman, he sponsored this one thing, and I helped him out with a situation once.
Yeah.
That way, there's, they're not like a well-oiled machine, but they're not totally unknown to each other either.
Right. And that is important.
Yeah.
I know, like, for example, the next game I'm going to run in the in-person game, if it gets voted for in the same world anyway, is the party has to have some sort of connection with someone else's character in the game currently. So, like, for example, Anne's in the game, so, for example, Dalton could say, hey, her character killed somebody important to me, because she's the bad guy right now. So I have a personal reason to take care of this one character.
Sure.
And stuff like that. The rule was, though, you couldn't pick, not everybody could pick the same character.
Yeah, you don't want one character becoming the hub of the group. It's better if you can arrange kind of a ring structure.
Yeah, I said 2 people per character, at most. That was my shtick. So that way, if multiple people had an idea for a single one of the characters, they could do it.
Yeah.
But I didn't want everybody picking the same person.
Right.
I can't move. I need help.
Are you kidding me? I rolled right into that.
Who's the Empire officer in the hot pants?
That would be Lita.
An interesting uniform design.
Yeah, she's from Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell for me, but Deep Space Nine's one of the ones I've seen the least of, honestly.
She married Rom.
Okay.
She was the Bajoran who married Rom.
Got it.
And, in the Mirror Universe, she, made a deal with the Power Wraiths. And can channel them now.
Okay.
And oh boy, is that fun. Fighting her is always a pain in the ass, because if she goes all fiery, she becomes invulnerable.
Okay.
So that's a problem.
Sure, yeah. I mean, invulnerability, it can be a difficulty.
Yeah.
Alright, Off-World Trading Company, finally.
Huzzah!
Keep going.
So much for trying to protect me, Mom. Good job.
Wes, you're forcing me to make a terrible choice here. Don't make me kill you.
I have a feeling we're gonna have to kill him. Alright. Come on. Oh, one of my people is out. That's not good. That's not good at all. Where is the person? There you are.
Upload the countermeasure data. Hurry.
A little busy resurrecting one of my people. Busy. Oh, I got stuck. Let me move. Okay.
What are you waiting? Upload that countermeasure data.
Can you please send the bubble elsewhere? That would be great. Right, Beverly's done. Everybody else is done. Oh boy, boy, boy.
One of my vassals is insulting me.
Sounds like you need to smack a bitch.
This little trick of yours isn't going to work, Mom.
They are harming our relations. I'm improving our relations. They're a hive mind. I could change our agreement. Let me see.
There he goes. Down he goes. Alright. Oh! Oh!
No! No, no! Mom! Come on, wake up. Wake up. Don't do this to me, Mom. Please, Mom.
Oh, he killed his mom.
Please wake up. I didn't mean to. It's this thing, Mom. It's the other. I did it. It wasn't me.
Alright, I've changed our agreement so that it should be a little more appealing to them. I probably need to pick up that Ascension perk that lets me have multiple subjects without a penalty to their loyalty, because I've already got 2 vassals.
Mom, I'm
Oh, yeah.
sorry. I didn't think it would go this
I've
far.
altered the deal. Pray I do not alter it further.
It's over.
I loved how they named the other Conqueror. That's the name of the probe.
It is over. Vija
Yep.
and Sika are restoring all.
Alright, so with that being said, let's look into where we can go and who we're going to raid today. So let's go back
Right
here.
on.
Alright, who is up and what are they doing today? We did kill a Kronk yesterday. Let's see what we got here. Oh, my knee's bothering me again, and that's really annoying. Come on, good gods. How many people do I have on my list these days? So many. Alright, here we go. Shit, let's do Real Ed Mottman, because he's doing Jedi Fallen Order. That's a fun game. Alright, so if you are, give me a second, let me get to my messages here. One of my followers, please use the following raid message. If you're one of my subscribers, please use the following raid message. As we tend to show some love to Ed Mottman for playing Star Wars. Alright, join us for Multiplayer Monday, next Monday, where we're going to be doing Stardew Valley. Next Tabletop Tuesday, I think we'll probably have to come up with another subject. I don't know if there are going to be any new OGL news.
Yeah, I don't think the survey closes until after that point, so we'll see.
We'll see. But we'll come up with a topic. I mean, between the two of us, we probably can come up with something.
Yeah, and if you have any requests and you're on the Discord, you know, send us some suggestions.
Yeah, we'll take any suggestions of topics you want us to cover. Or recover if you want us to cover it again.
Yeah.
There's not a problem there. We always welcome that. Alright, so make sure you're taking care of yourself mentally, physically. Remember, it's always time for tea in the tavern. And I hope to see you all Monday. So, doodles.
Doodles.